The next speaker, Terry Duprat, is here from New Sanctuary Coalition. Terry is an accompaniment leader for the New Sanctuary Coalition. Their accompaniment program trains volunteers to accompany people who are facing deportation to their immigration court hearings and ICE check-ins. The accompaniment program organizes over 500 volunteers and accompanies hundreds of people each year. Thousands of New York City immigrant families have been supported by New Sanctuary Coalition's social justice work over the past 10 years. Thank you.
What I have to talk about is going to court with our immigrants. I am with undocumented people every day. I've been doing it for the close to 3 years now. I mostly spend my time at Varick Street courts. Varick Street courts, when I first started doing this, was entirely for detainees. So it was that for people who were incarcerated. They call it detention, we call it jail. It's semantics. The reality is, I would see them when I first started doing this. They would come in groups of 4, all shackled to each other, wearing orange jumpsuits. The women wore gray jumpsuits, and they were again shackled to 3 other women. Our role here was very often they'd asked us to be here. We were asked to be in the courtroom because the family or some liaison at the detention center got through to us, so they needed help. But mostly we were there for the families. We met the family. I meet the families, and I still do. In fact, I'm meeting a family tomorrow morning. We meet the families at a coffee shop close by the courts. We talk to them about what's going to happen. Sometimes they simply say, I can't go there. Other times they'll say, I can't get to the detention center. This is the only time I'm going to see them. So up to 3 years ago, that was wonderful. They would come. They would at least physically see them. They couldn't touch them, God forbid. About August of last year, there was a huge demonstration outside Varick Street courts. And it was a bunch of anarchists. God love them. It's important to demonstrate. I know that. But what happened in our case was they stopped the food from being delivered so that our detainees could not eat. The immigrants could not eat when they got there. So then the courts took example of this and said, fine, we won't bring them in. So from August, actually, maybe September of last year, they are seen on videotape only. So now when we go to the courtrooms, we're there, and there's the new courtrooms now. By the way, they built 10 new courtrooms in the last year. There's 2 videos so we can see them. Our friends, we call them our friends. Our friends can't see us, though, but they can see the judge, the attorney, their attorney, and, of course, the DHS attorney. God forbid, we can't do work without them. So that's there's a certain aspect to having somebody on a video and not physically there that's just horrible. Recently, as recently as this week, a young man was on the video screen. He was pro se. Yes, pro se meaning without legal representation. And he was actually granted I've forgotten the actual. It was a waiver. He was looking for a waiver. He was given the waiver by the judge. However, what happens when they're on video, and this is really important, nobody tells them that the court is over. Nobody tells them that. So they sit there, and the people leave the courtroom, or their attorney will leave the courtroom, or there's something really wrong. There's a disconnect because they're not physically there. It can be very, very upsetting. It's upsetting for the families to see their loved ones on a screen. We have, within the last year, also had to deal with an outbreak of mumps in 2 of the facilities. That then put the courts and the docket back another 4 to 6 months. the attendance, last Thursday, New Sanctuary covered 17 court hearings at Federal Plaza. Now, that means there were 17 leaders with a minimum of 5 to 6 volunteers in that group. So we cover a lot of, a lot of base, but it's something that, the videos have become more and more relevant. We have judges on videos. They will announce that they're in Fairfax, Virginia, and they're constantly being told, those are not the laws of New York. You have to rethink that. So we spend a lot of time re-educating, the attorneys spend a lot of time re-educating the judges. Again, they're on video. You often have DHS, who are the Homeland Security attorneys, on video. And the only person, our friend is on a video, and we have legal aid on one of the Bronx or Brooklyn defenders, and there's us, and that's how it goes. They can cover a lot of ground with being on video. It's much quicker, by the way. The other thing that I think is important that I wanted to share with you is the asylum application is lengthy, it's important, and the changes that are made to that practically on a weekly basis. Especially for women, it's been very hard. A woman who's trying to prove or has made a statement that I've been raped many times, I've been abused many times, I'm fleeing from wherever. What's happened now with the corrections that have been made is that, one, you have to prove, A, that she's been raped, B, that she's been abused. DHS will argue, but it couldn't have been that bad. If you didn't report it to your police in your country, it couldn't have been that bad. It's constant. The battering that goes on in the courtrooms is constant, it's daily, and I've witnessed so much of it. It's very, very serious. It's extremely serious. The changes that I've seen from 3 years ago, where I did maybe 1 or 2 accompaniments a week, I now average maybe 8 accompaniments a week, 8 or 9. I'm very fortunate that I've retired to get this new job. But I can't imagine doing anything else. It's truly, I'll share with you very quickly, approximately 3 years ago, before when I just started, I met my group leader at the time, who was Sarah, she was before Ambien, and we met at Dunkin' Donuts on Broadway. And we met this family from somewhere, I don't know, it doesn't matter. One of the things that we don't ask are those questions. I don't need to, why do I need to know where somebody comes from? I don't need to know that. All I need to know is why I'm there. I'm there to help, to escort these people, and to be a friend to them, to the best of my ability. We encourage our volunteers, by the way, on that note, not to ask personal questions either. None of this is important. What's important is that we take them to court, that we stay with them, and we stay with them entirely until it's over. But anyway, this particular day, I met the group at Dunkin' Donuts, and I met this family, a Latino family, and this is a lady, and she had 2 sons, and the one was about 12, he had the best hair. He was about 12, and the younger one was about 7, and the 12-year-old spoke very good English. So, I don't know, he and I just hit it off. We just hit it off. Now, don't forget, it's my second accompaniment. So we went to the courtroom, and typically we stood in the hallway as we waited for to have room in the court and to have our case called up. And oh my God, it was the child who was in. He was the one who was there for court that day, the 12-year-old. My heart sunk. I mean, my God. I've escorted him several times since, by the way. He's now 14, 15. And that's the other thing we do, is we meet with children. We'll take the children from the parents because the parents are terrified to go back into the courtroom because it's not their day. And the court, for some reason, hasn't put them all on the one docket. God, again, these are all the things they could do to help, but it's not helping. And we take the children. I walk into court with little girls, little boys. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. But it's worth coming, and thank you for asking. I'm sorry that Ambien isn't here, but I'm really delighted I came. It's been a really informative and lovely evening. Thank you.